He did explain the hadith.
Yeah, he did explain. That's what.
No, but I don't accept. Ahmed, listen.
Can he explain
Ahmed, let me make it very clear. Ahmed, let me make it very clear. Okay, do you want to talk about the hadith?
No. I just want you to, when you challenge, it doesn't have to be about Islam. You could challenge about atheism. You challenge anything about a claim. I would respectfully tell you, Timothy, that you need to understand the foundation.
Okay.
If you don't understand the foundation, then you're not qualified to speak on the matter. Like if I ask you, for example, you have an issue about qadr in Islam,
Okay.
So I expect you to understand what is our position about qadr, right?
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you this one question. In Islam, what are the 4 matters that we believe concerning qadr?
I can't give you an answer to that.
Good.
But
wait, 1 second.
What I can answer you on.
Now that is my qualifying question. Therefore, you're not qualified to speak on the matter.
Okay.
Because you don't know what we believe in the first place. So I would respectfully tell you, Timothy, that if you want to challenge about qadr in Islam, first understand our position, because you failed to answer the question, what are the 4 matters of qadr that we believe as Muslims? Okay. If I ask any Muslim who's knowledgeable, they will be able to answer the question. In fact, even James White, even Christian apologists, they can answer this question. But as you, Timothy, when you're in a position of challenging, I expect you to understand our position first. And it shows that you have lack of knowledge. Now, you have every right to ask. If I challenge you about Christianity, let's say, for example, I challenge you about the doctrine of the Trinity, you have every right to ask me, okay, I'm going to first qualify you whether you understand what we believe about the Trinity.
Okay.
What is the difference between usia and hypostasis?
Okay.
What is the definition of personhood? If I can't answer the question, you would respond by saying, you're not qualified to challenge.
That's not correct.
Why not?
That's not how I operate at all.
No, that's how I operate.
Yeah, that's how you operate.
And I think it's logical.
No, I don't think it's logical, because I'm happy to entertain questions about the Trinity.
But you're speaking without knowledge.
No, I listen to you. Hold on a second. Right? I can read a hadith, or a number of hadiths, and I can get a general understanding of what the hadith is saying. I might be right, I might be wrong. I can have a conversation with a Muslim about it. Now, you might be saying to me, I need to know your complete paradigm to be able to even have a conversation with you about it.
Sure.
I don't believe that's the case. I don't believe that's the case.
Okay.
Because for everything that you want to critique or question, you'd have to be a master of it. That doesn't even make sense. Now, when I'm reading the hadith, and I'm seeing that it's talking about predestination, I'm seeing that it says that Allah has fixed a portion of adultery onto somebody that they cannot escape. I'm reading that text and I'm like, oh, hold on a second. Allah is making this person sin.
Sure.
And then Allah is the reason why this person is going to hell. They've got no control over it at all. So when I'm bringing up the hadith about Allah fixing adultery, when I'm bringing up the hadith about a child who has committed no sin, possibly going to hell because Allah has chosen for that child to go to hell, then I'm questioning free will in Islam. Now, I don't need to be an expert in hadith. I don't need to understand isnad or akul.
You do.
What I do need to understand is this: your response to it. Now, if you want to go to another hadith to try to give an understanding and say, okay, well, we balanced it out with this hadith, then do that. I'll listen to what you're saying, and I'll make a judgment. Based on what Siraj was saying, it didn't deal with my issue.
I believe he did.
No, well, you can believe he did.
I believe he did.
He said many things that were even contradictory. On one hand, he said the child. Wait, one second.
Eyes is contradictory.
No, he said on one hand the child wasn't even a Muslim.
I wasn't here.
Huh? Okay, so you wasn't here
At that point.
Oh, so you don't even know what he was saying.
No, afterwards.
So the whole point of this, the whole point of you having this discussion with me is about knowing what is what. Yet you're saying he was making sense even though you don't know the fullness of what he said.
No, here's another perspective. I want you to be in my shoes. I, as a Muslim, will quote a verse from the Bible. From the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 10, verse 34. And I want you to give me a response. But only in this verse. Jesus Christ says, I have not come here to bring peace, but I bring here for sword. Now, I don't care about your methodology. I want you to tell me, what do you understand from this verse? And let's see how you respond.
Yeah, but I can look at the context. I can look at the context.
Read the context.
Yeah.
Okay, after reading the context, I still have a problem with this verse. Because Jesus says, I have not come here to bring peace, but I've come here to bring sword.
Okay.
Now that sounds like to me that Jesus was a jihadi. And I understand that Christians use the term jihadi in a very negative way. But I find a passage from the Bible that Jesus was a jihadi.
Yeah, that's
Now, what I want you to do, Timothy, is I don't want your hermeneutical principles. I want you to stick to this verse, how you understand. And I don't want you to go to other verses. I want you to stick to that
That's
verse.
not what I said.
No.
That's not what I said.
No. I have no problem of you.
That's not what I said.
Okay,
though.
let me change it. I'll be more charitable. I have no problem.
Don't straw man.
I have no problem if you go to other verses to interpret this verse.
Within
But
the same chapter.
Right, but first of all, before
Within
you,
the same chapter.
Timothy, but before you go to other verses, I want you to tell me, how do you understand by this verse? In Matthew chapter 10 verse 34, Jesus says, I have not come here to bring peace, but to the sword.
Yeah, but you,
First try and explain to me that verse, then you go
but
to
this is
other
the problem
verses.
that you're making. You're treating hadiths like they're verses. Hadiths are not verses, they're narrations.
Did I say hadith?
No.
I'm saying I could
no.
be an atheist.
No.
I don't need to be
I
Muslim.
heard you out. A hadith is a narration. It can be
No,
even
it's not.
no.
That's not the
It can even be a story
No.
of something. No, listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. In the context of this, right? You get a lot of context. You get Aisha talking about a child who hasn't committed any sin. You get Aisha talking about a child.
No, I want you to. No.
Hold
Timothy,
on.
Timothy.
I listen to you.
No.
Raihan, I
Timothy,
listen to
but
you.
you need to engage
No,
my
I'm
point.
engaging.
No.
Let me
Can
explain.
you
Let me explain.
No. Can you explain to me?
Hadiths are not verses.
Matthew,
Hadiths
I
are
didn't
not
say,
verses.
I didn't say hadith equals to verses. I can be an atheist and critique that. I don't need to be Muslim. I don't need to know about hadith. According to this verse, when Jesus says, I have not come here to bring peace, but for sword, I have no problem if you go to other verses to explain
Within
that
the
verse.
same
No
chapter.
problem. But first of all, before you do that, from that verse alone, how do you explain that?
Yeah, that's not. Sorry, my friend. I'm in a. We're recording. Yeah. God bless you.
If you don't answer, I'll walk off.
I'm answering you. You may not
Okay.
like my answer, and you can walk off. By the way,
Absolutely.
you know I'm not going to force you to be here.
sure,
I'm not going to beg for your attention.
Sure.
I respect you. I'll shake your hand.
No problem, Jimmy.
So there's peace between us.
Yeah, no
but I'm not going to
Yeah.
beg for you to be here.
Good,
right?
Good. Actually, I came to you, so it's fine.
Yeah, and you came to me.
Yeah.
Right. I'm glad you clarified
Okay.
that. Let me respond to what you're saying. And if you don't like my response, I'm sorry. First and foremost, if you're bringing up a verse and you want to get an understanding of the verse, you have to look at the context. You'd have to look at what's being said before and after that
So
verse.
do you know the context?
Well, I have to get the chapter out and
Read
look
it
at it.
up. Let's read the
I'm not
context.
trying to get into that debate.
Let's bring up
No, I'm not trying to get into that debate. I'd rather talk about what we can agree on. How about this?
Let's bring the context.
How about this? What we can agree on is this then. I can talk to you about predestination in Islam, and you can talk
you're
to
not
me.
qualified.
Hold on a second. And
You're not qualified.
If I'm not qualified, then why are we having this discussion?
I tell you why.
Why are we having this?
To demonstrate that you are speaking without knowledge. If you want to challenge Muslims, understand our position first. And one of the qualifying questions I asked you is, what do Muslims believe about Qadr, about the four matters? What are the four matters of Qadr that we believe in? Every Muslim who has basic knowledge on Iman, on Aqidah, can answer the question like this.
Okay.
And even Christian apologists, like James White, I have no doubt they can answer this question. So if you can't answer these basic questions about Qadr, you are not in a position to challenge.
No,
You
this is
first
wrong.
need to understand
This
our
is
position.
wrong. This
No,
is wrong.
I tell you what. You need to know what are the four matters that we believe about Qadr. If you can't answer that question, you're not in a position to challenge. Now, if I as a Muslim want to challenge you about the Trinity, if I don't know the Trinitarian terms, usia, hypostasis, person, origin of relations, subsistence, if I don't know these terms,
You don't.
I'm
you
not
don't need
qualified.
to, no, you don't need to know all those terms.
No,
to challenge the Trinity.
I'm doing internal critique. So what I'm doing is I'm challenging the doctrine of the Trinity based upon the definition that the Church Fathers has defined for you. So I
Yeah.
need to understand, how did the Church Fathers understood the term usia,
Yeah.
hypostasis? If I don't know, then I'm not qualified to challenge about the Trinity. I first need to understand, how do Christians understand the term usia? What do they mean by distinction? What do they mean by subsistence? If I don't know these terms, I as a Muslim, I'm not qualified to
You
challenge
do
you.
realize, right,
That's
when
the point.
people are having a conversation or a debate, or when they're engaging with each other, you share those things in the conversation.
I agree with you, Timothy.
Do you understand? Hold on a second.
I agree with you.
Last time we had a discussion on predestination,
Yes.
you spoke about the universal related will, and you talked about the legislative will.
Fantastic, you remember?
Yeah, of course I remembered, because I learned from that conversation.
did. Oh, okay, you
Hold
learned.
on a second.
Brilliant, brilliant.
Hold on a second. You
Good,
spoke
good,
about
good.
hurricanes being
Good.
under the universal related
Very
will.
good, very good.
You spoke about the Quran being under the legislative will. has rulings of things that you should not do according to Allah. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah.
So I learned from that conversation.
Good.
Right? But even though I learned from what you said in that conversation, fundamentally you are still wrong. And that's the point I'm trying to make.
According to you.
So no, you were still wrong. That's the point I'm trying to make.
That's okay.
So even if I lacked that knowledge,
That's okay.
it had nothing to do with my own. I heard you. Hold on a second.
Go on.
Even though I lacked that knowledge or those specific terms and what they meant, overall, my view of predestination in Islam still stood.
That's okay.
Overall, my view of Islam not having any free will still stood.
That's okay, Timothy.
So my point being is that if you think that I'm underqualified, then it's for you to bring up the jargon.
No.
It's for you to make it clear,
No.
and I can challenge you on those things.
See, do you see the way? Okay, you use the word challenge. Okay, challenge is a very big word. A challenge, it comes from a position of dismantling your interlocutor's position. Am I right?
Go on.
Okay, now there's two approaches. Number one, Q&A session. Okay, I don't know too much about Qadr, but what is your position about Qadr? I'll give you the answer. But you're not in a position of debate, because you're not challenging.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Another approach
Okay.
is challenge, a debate.
Okay.
Now, if you want to debate, I'm going to qualify you. Are you the right person to speak on this topic? Do you know the 4 matters that every Muslim believes concerning Qadr? You don't know these basic questions. You don't know our position properly. And perhaps, and I'll say definitely, the position that you're trying to argue against Islam is not what we Muslims believe in the first place.
Okay.
Now, I agree with you. You have different schools of thoughts about Qadr. You have Jabriya, who you could call it the hard determinists. Then you had Qadriya. They were the opposite. They were libertarians.
Okay.
Then you had the middle, which I hold the position, Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. But this is no different to Christianity, because Christianity also has different understanding of Qadr. Let me tell you this: the Calvinism, Arminianism, and Molinism. So where's the symmetry breaker? If you're going to argue that Islam is false because they understand that Qadr is not unified and it doesn't make sense, I would argue the same. Why do you have differences when it comes to Qadr in Christianity? Why do you have the Calvinist school of thought? Why do you have the Arminian school of thought? Why do you have the Molinist school of thought? The symmetry breaker between Islam and Christianity is we reject the Trinity, we accept Tawheed. You accept Trinity, we accept Tawheed. We would rather have that conversation. But about Qadr, there is no differences between Muslims and Christians. Because no, there is. Because some Christians held the Calvinist position.
Okay.
Some Christians held the Arminian position, which is in between. Some of them believed in the Molinist position. Now, have you heard these terms before?
I have.
You have. Okay, so you know about Arminianism.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, you know about Molinism.
Not so much, but Calvinism.
Calvinism. Okay, so you're not aware about your own religious differences in the Christian church, in the Christian history, and now you're projecting on the Muslims saying,
Hold on a second.
Qadr, therefore Islam
Hold
is
on a
false.
second. If you want to challenge me on predestination in my Bible, you can do that. In fact, I'll offer you that. Since you have an advantage of knowing that I don't know much about these things, I'll offer you that. And let's see how and let's see how well you fare.
Okay,
Let's see how well.
okay.
Do you want to do the debates?
Should we do? I'll come here next week, next Sunday. Let's have a
I'm
debate.
happy to do it now.
Let's-
I don't need to take the
No,
time to research.
I'm gonna go soon.
I don't need to take the time
Because
to
I've been
research.
here, I got arthritis, so I need to.
I can get you a chair.
No, I'm okay. Let's have
The reason why I want to do it now, Raihan, let me
Yeah.
tell you why.
Yeah.
So you don't say that I went off and did research. I can show you from my understanding about predestination right now. I can make an argument against
Okay.
Islam.
10 minutes.
I can make an argument
No,
against
I
Islam.
tell you what, no.
And you can challenge me on
Okay.
Calvinism, right?
Okay.
On Arminianism,
Okay,
right?
Molinism.
And any other ism that you want
Okay.
to, right?
Yeah.
That's your prerogative.
Okay.
But I'm showing you, I can show you clearly from the hadith that there is no free will in Islam. I can show you from the hadith that Allah's will contradicts his will. How does that make sense?
Okay.
The universal related will
you still-
contradicts
you see
the
the problem
legislative
here?
will.
Okay.
On one hand,
I'm-
Allah fixes, let me say this.
Okay.
On one hand, Allah fixes how much adultery someone will do, and then he commands them not to do adultery.
Okay.
We have a conflict of will here.
Yeah.
We have Allah
But Timothy,
contradicting
we've
himself.
already had the debate about predestination anyway. Do you remember?
We did.
Yeah,
Well,
with,
Tommy,
Wes, right?
Tommy was the main guy dealing with that debate. I
Okay,
was
no
I was
problem,
there
no
on the side.
Okay, okay.
And
Go
by the
ahead,
way,
go ahead.
when we had this conversation now about predestination, that was on the back of me talking to somebody else about it.
Okay.
You joined in the conversation with Siraj. So let's just make that clear.
Okay, go on.
Yeah, it's not like I'm coming to you directly and saying, let's debate this.
Okay.
This was already happening
Sure.
and you were listening to what was going on.
Sure.
So I need to make that very clear.
Okay, thank you very much, Timothy. Now, the main issue that I have with Timothy here is Timothy comes here and challenges people about Islam. He challenges Muslims about Islam. And I don't want you to take this personally. It's a general rule of thumb that applies to everyone. It includes myself, it includes the Muslims, it includes the Christians, atheists, whatever. That if you are coming from a position of challenging your interlocutor, I expect the individual to know the foundation of the claim being made. So he wants to debate with me about qadr. I asked him, and this is a qualified question, if he can answer that question, I'm willing to debate. What are the 4 matters of qadr that we believe in Islam? Can you name the 4? Then I'm ready to debate. If you don't, research, come back next week. If you get the right answer, we'll debate.
God bless you. Yeah. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Well,
Too.
yeah. Take care. Yeah. I'll see you soon.
Take care.
Next, are we on for next week?
Yeah, next week, next Sunday.
Okay. God
Inshallah.
bless you.
God willing.
Yeah.
Check him.
All right then.
Thank you.
So that was
What happened there, Tim?
pardon?
What happened there?
So I was having a conversation with someone about a particular hadith. I'm going to read the hadith so that you guys know what I was talking about. Let me know if I'm too low. Yeah, I'll raise my voice.
That's fine.
So it says here in the hadith, Allah's messenger, there is happiness for this child, who is a bird from the birds of paradise, for it committed no sin, nor has he reached the age when one can commit sin. He said, this is Muhammad speaking, Aisha, perhaps it may be otherwise, because God created for paradise those who are fit for it while they were yet in their father's loins, and created for hell those who are to go to hell. He created them for hell while they were yet in their father's loins. So I was talking to a Muslim about this on the side, a private conversation, but Siraj joined in, Raihan joined in, and I was making the point here that it doesn't matter if a person commits sin or not. If Allah decrees that they're going to hell, they're going to hell. There's nothing they can do about it. There is no free will in Islam. It's a delusion. And there are plenty of hadiths that I can appeal to prove this point. Now he's telling me that I need to be qualified, that I need to know exactly what they believe about the qadar to be able to have an opinion on it. That's utter BS. If he wants to bring that up in the debate, then that's fine. We can discuss it and I can refute it then and there. But look, I understand predestination enough to be able to have a conversation with a Muslim about it. I was willing to have it with him today without doing that research. He didn't want to have it for some reason. He said that his leg was a bit tired. I offered him a chair. He didn't want to sit down. That's fine. We'll talk about it next week, God willing. God bless you. Take care.